This is Inside Texas Politics with Jason Whiteley on WFAA.
Time now for Reporters Roundtable to put the headlines in perspective. Bud and Ross both still with us, and Berna Dean Steptoe, Channel 8's political producer, is here every Sunday as well. Ross, let's start with you and getting back to the Tea Party blasting Governor Abbott's school safety plan. Can the Tea Party prevent any change?
I don't know if they can prevent it, but they're drawing a battle line here within the party. You know, the governor has proposed some mild gun control measures as part of his school safety plan. They don't like them. On the other hand, Jerry Patterson, the former land commissioner and a big Second Amendment advocate, is on the governor's side of this one, and it sets up a very interesting debate inside the GOP.
And Bud, the Tea Party is using some pretty strong words, saying gun owners should be incensed about this.
Well, you see, this is where we see the split in the Republican Party come forth. You have a large number in the Republican Party, particularly inside the elected group, the Freedom Caucus. They're from the Ron Paul faction. They're more libertarian-minded. You know, you heard Senator Huffines say that gun rights come from God. Yeah, they really don't believe there should be any gun laws at all.
Berna Dean, you were shaking your head a moment ago.
Well, yes, that is true in terms of they believe that there should be no gun laws. However, when Governor Abbott drafted or crafted his proposal, his plan, he was very careful not to step on the rights of gun owners. And I have not seen Governor Abbott back down from a fight since he's been governor. So I think that he was very careful in crafting it and is going to prevail.
And we'll see how that one plays out. Pretty interesting indeed there. Ross, let's talk about the Supreme Court, that ruling last week letting the Colorado baker refuse to bake a cake for a gay wedding couple. Is this an issue we're going to see in the campaigns as we get closer to November?
Sure. I think this is going to be one of the first 2 or 3 paragraphs of a lot of fundraising letters during the summer, both at the congressional and the state level, as people fight over this. What the court did was leave open the question of whether there's a First Amendment right to not bake a cake for that couple, or a First Amendment right to get a cake from a baker who doesn't want to make one. And as long as that's an open question, it's an open political fight.
Bud, what do you expect to see? You
know, this case decided very little, but it gave both sides a lot of political ammunition. You know, they'll use it for a get out the vote tool and say, look at what's happened now with religious freedom. We need to protect our religious freedom. The other side will say, look at civil rights. We need to uphold equality.
Fundraising letters, perhaps, get out the vote. What do you think, Berna Dean?
Well, I think we will see those, because we will see each side trying to take an advantage. But as the Supreme Court ruled, it did leave room for those kinds of fights. And I think we will see it because parties will use anything to get an advantage. And this can give them one.
We'll also shift off in the final moments here to the federal government talking about using Texas military bases to house those immigrant children that have come to the U.S. without any parents. A few years ago, people were so up in arms, so upset about this. Where's the outrage now?
Well, I think we've changed the subject a little bit, and it's separating families from children, and what are you going to do with the children, and the welfare of the children is more at the front at the moment than immigration was a few years ago. This will shift back and forth, but the present problem seems to be take care of the kids.
Bud?
You remember a few years ago we saw Ted Cruz and Glenn Beck going to the border and giving teddy bears to children that were being held in you know, there, and you know, we're not seeing that this time. We're not even seeing much public concern. They're talking about putting children at Dias, Goodfellow, Fort Bliss, putting them like prisoners of war in military bases.
Berna Dean, final word.
Well, it is interesting that we don't see enough or more of outrage or whatever in the state of Texas, because you're actually talking about pulling kids from their parents. But the closer we get to election, or the longer it happens, we might see more activity involved in it, but it is amazing that there's not more pushback.
Sounds good. Thanks to our roundtable, and thank you for watching as well. ABC's This Week is beginning in just a moment here. Bud, Ross, Berna Dean.